everyone, I am so excited to be with you today because I promise you that I'll bring interviews to this channel, and I actually have an interview for you guys. And she's the founder and chief dream builder of Petals-n-Belles, a non-for-profit for girls in urban communities that helps give girls cultural experiences. I've decided to bring this special person on this channel because we are the generation of dreamers, creatives, entrepreneurs, yet sometimes it's a little bit difficult for us to navigate our dreams and actually put it into action. Now I would like to introduce Damali Elliott, Chief Dream Builder of Petals-n-Belles. Cue the applause.
Hello world, and thank you Imani for having me. I'm super excited.
So first, who is Damali Elliott?
I am a dreamer first and foremost. That word resonates with me so deeply. I'm an advocate for young girls. I'm an advocate for youth, specifically living in poverty. I am here to end generational poverty and make sure that youth that I work with have access to opportunities and experiences that will propel them and allow them to have an understanding that where they are is not a representation of where they're going. And I'm just a super passionate girl that works hard daily to support this.
So Damali, like I said, she's the chief dream builder and founder of Petals-n-Belles. And I know you may be wondering, what is a chief dream builder? So can you explain?
Instead of calling myself an executive director, which I think is really boring, I was like, what exactly am I doing here? I'm building my dream and I'm helping to build the dreams of others, and so I am the chief dream builder of Petals-n-Belles.
So Petals-n-Belles developed from you having the audacity to dream, as many of us do. What is the story behind Petals-n-Belles? How did you take your dream out of park and put it into drive?
Thank you, that's a great question. So my educational background is in journalism.
Whoop, whoop.
And
I'm a writer.
No shade. And my dream was to become an entertainment publicist, and so a year after undergrad I actually landed that dream job at an indie PR firm here in the city, working with incredible artists like Ciara and Ryan Leslie. And it took me about 7 months to realize that I absolutely could not do that for the rest of my life. And it was a really scary moment for me because all of my friends and a lot of my family, you know, looking from the outside in, it seemed like such a glamorous position, but I was really unhappy with the work. So I actually decided to leave PR after a year of doing it. And when I made that transition, unknowingly I became a mentor to so many girls in my community. I was asked by friends of my family, I was asked by aunts to speak to my cousins. Meanwhile, I was still trying to figure out, like, what am I going to do next professionally? So I actually just decided to throw a dinner for these girls. And so every Thursday at 7 o'clock I would have a dinner. And at the time I was actually working as a hostess in a restaurant trying to make ends meet. But I really fell in love with the process. I really fell in love with mentoring. And so I decided to get another full-time job.
What full-time job was that?
I was an office manager / executive assistant for a really high-end HR company.
After your first PR job, you left.
Yes.
And then you got a job as a hostess at a restaurant.
Yes.
And that was for how long?
That was for about 4 months.
And then you decided to look for a full-time.
Yes.
So what was the thought process in between hostess and the next full-time? Were you thinking this can't work?
From the glamour of PR to being a hostess, it made me feel like a failure, to be honest. Working with the girls and having this dinner on a weekly basis really gave me life. And I thought to myself, I love doing this more than I love PR, and I definitely love doing it more than I love being a hostess, and I would love to do it full time. But like, how could I do it full time? I didn't think that was possible.
Right.
So I decided to get another job. But when I took that job, I said to myself, okay, well, what I'm gonna do with this is I'm gonna take the money that I make and I'm gonna pour it into what I love. And so I literally took paycheck after paycheck and used my entire paycheck to go into the business, which I could do because I decided to move back home with my family so that I could focus on doing what I love. And I knew I couldn't focus on it while having to figure out how to pay rent and pay all the other bills that comes with adulting.
So when did you end the full-time job?
I was probably at that job for no more than 9 months.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what made you decide this is it?
What happened was, so I'm at this full-time job. This is a long time ago now, so they can't get upset with me. But I'm like balancing what I'm doing with them, and I'm also emailing schools and writing curriculums and taking meetings for Petals-n-Belles. So they just got to a point where I was like, oh my God, do I choose work
Right.
Or do I choose this meeting with this person who's really interested in supporting the work that I'm doing with girls? You know, I was called out a few times on getting back from lunch late because I'm like working in Midtown and jetting downtown for meetings,
so you were like
and coming
living
back.
a double life.
Yeah, trying to hard. And then also it really became hard because the truth is that when I sat down at my desk, I was so interested. I was like, ooh, how's the website going for Petals-n-Belles? Who can I email to ask for support? I never sat down at my desk and was like, okay, what did my boss say I needed to do again?
Wow.
And that's horrible, but it happens, and it's just a clear sign that you aren't where you're supposed to be. Work should be something that excites you, that allows you to jump up and get out of your bed and like start your day, versus something that, you know, makes you feel small.
So what exactly does quitting and starting over look like?
For me, it meant sacrifice. One sacrifice that most people aren't aware of is when I started Petals-n-Belles and went full-time with the organization, I went 3 years without compensation. I remember having to go to really, you know, cool events and thinking to myself, well, I have nothing to wear. My mom would say to me, no, I'm not gonna let you go to that event without looking amazing. Let's go buy a dress.
Kudos to mom.
Right? Thank you, mom. Meanwhile, I'm like 25 years old and I'm watching my friends like travel. And for me, it was really hard to just grab a drink with friends.
I just want to emphasize 25 years old because I know that you guys are just like me in the sense that you put timing on certain ages. So I've heard someone say by the time I'm 25, I want to have a kid.
Not I.
Right. So that's just that's a clear reminder to not hold yourself so adamantly to a certain standard by a certain age, because it's all different for everyone. So
Sorry.
At times when you were at your lowest point, what did you do to keep your dream alive?
I've had many low points. The most important thing is being honest with everyone where you are. I remember one day I actually had to Google entrepreneurial burnout to find out like what do you do when you hit that place. You have to really celebrate yourself, have grace, and understand that like you're not doing anything wrong. And in fact, as entrepreneurs, sometimes we beat ourselves up for making mistakes, when in fact, like that's a part of the journey. You're going to make mistakes. And instead of sulking and being home and being by yourself, get up and get out. Do something different. Start doing yoga. Go for runs. I've started to run when I'm really upset. And the benefit of that is, you know, my jeans are a little looser and I look a little better in the photos that I take.
So what are some of the things that people don't talk about as an entrepreneur?
How extremely hard it is. You have to be in a position where you are told no and you are rejected all the time, right? But yet, after every rejection, you have to come back like life is great.
You have to come back like Instagram, like
exactly,
how Instagram looks.
Exactly. Like you have to have the strongest ability to understand that no one is going to see your vision except for you, and you have to embody that vision daily. And then the other thing is like chasing checks, for example. Like you get used to being in a system where every 2 weeks you get paid. That's really cool. When you're an entrepreneur, you might have to get back to that dollar menu someday. And so one piece of advice I would offer is like, even if it is $5 that you're saving, absolutely have something to fall back on, because there will be days where those checks do not come and no one is responding, or maybe work isn't flowing. Maybe it's your off season. It would behoove you to figure out how to navigate that space during that time, and just know that it's not you. You are not doing anything wrong. It is the system that we live in, and we need the millennials, and I am one, even though I'm on the older side of things. She always likes to tell me that I'm not a millennial. I'm a millennial, okay? The world needs our innovation. The world needs our light. The world needs our spirit. And this is our opportunity to do it, but we absolutely won't get there unless we get through the hard times. And the hard times are harder than you could ever imagine. And the darkest moments are darker than you could ever imagine. And so, email me.
I also want to add to that, I noticed that a lot of us millennials say that we want to be entrepreneurs as soon as our bosses get on our last nerve. This goes to show that being an entrepreneur is not all about being in control of your own schedule. It comes with dark moments. It's not about, I don't have a boss, I can do whatever I want, the money's going to flow. It's actually nothing like that, right?
Absolutely. And sometimes, like, you know, when you're having periods where things aren't going right and you are your own boss, sometimes all you want is for someone to tell you what to do.
Yeah.
You're like, I've been doing everything. Please tell me what will work, you know?
So in today's current social climate, how would you consider dreaming a form of resilience?
If we do not dream, then we are subjecting ourselves to continue to live in a system that is not serving any of us. The notion of everyone joining corporate America isn't working. There's so many young people that are unable to find jobs. Who else is going to find a solution other than the people that it is affecting the most, which means you, me, and everyone watching this. Exactly. I would say we need your dreams.
Right. What is your spiritual practice, Damali?
So I am...
She's a hippie.
I am a bit of a hippie.
Look at the ensemble. Stand up, twirl. Look at that. Slaying, hippie slaying.
I try.
And then the fandangles.
My morning ritual is like getting up, making my bed. I do yoga every morning. I have a YouTube guru. His name is Sadhguru. He's from India. He's incredible. Watch his videos. I'm constantly reading and listening to audiobooks and taking in light. If you haven't heard of a company called Sun Potion, I highly, suggest that you look into it. It's a great organization that has these different herbs that you can like put into tonics and put into your ice cream and put over your salads, and it actually makes me feel really good. Like I can feel the difference.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So you know how you take things because it's healthy, but you don't really feel what's happening, but you know in the long run something's gonna happen? I thought that's what you were doing.
I could borderline snap if I do not have my daily tonic.
Oh wow. I'll put the link to the Sun Potion in the box below. So what is some of the advice you wish you've gotten earlier on as an entrepreneur?
Not to do the work. Instead of trying to take on this one woman's an island, one man is an island, mentality, take on the mentality of I'm throwing an event. Let me call my girlfriend who loves to, go to events and ask her if she wouldn't mind finding an event space. And then ask her to do that work.
So work smarter, not harder.
Absolutely.
And what is some advice you've gotten that you absolutely had to throw it away? It wasn't working for you. You just couldn't even pay attention to that.
It really goes hand in hand with what I was just saying. I recently had a meeting with someone who's pretty influential. Some of the advice that this person gave me was, you can do it all, and that is just unsustainable. No, I can't do it all. You can't do it all, but we can do it together.
So a lot of the times we have doubts and we wonder what other people's doubts look like. And someone like you, Damali, is always faced with this whole, she's so pristine, you're so meticulous, you're so beautiful, how can you have issues? And people look at her Instagram and they're like, you have so much fun, you're so glamorous, how can you have issues? So that brings me to say, what are some of the doubts that you've had? Because a lot of the times we may look at you and think she doesn't have doubts.
I have so many doubts. Sometimes I wonder if people take me seriously as a woman and as someone who, yes, likes fashion and likes to express myself through what I'm wearing, and as someone who loves makeup and having my hair done and just, all the feminine, fun things that we can do. I love it all. People assume sometimes that I'm in the fashion industry, or I have no clue. And when I begin to speak about the work that I'm doing, sometimes I see people's eyes get a little wider, and so that makes me think, well, what is it? So is it because a woman who's dressed well and presents herself walks into a room that, do you think that's all of me? Do you think that's my totality? What I don't doubt is my personal power space is working directly with the girls and creating a curriculum that grabs them, shakes them up, and excites them to understand that this world is theirs.
What is your advice to those who find it difficult to dream?
So I would say take some time to celebrate yourself and really just pour into yourself and have fun. Some of the greatest epiphanies I've ever had for Petals-n-Belles, it came when I was like mid-party, like having the best night of my life, traveling, and I'm like, that's the program that I want to do next. Do the things that you love, take care of yourself, and I promise you, your dreams will start to flow into your mind.
That was lovely. I was gonna ask another question, but that I can leave it right there. Thank you so much, Damali. Thank you guys for watching. And if you want to follow Damali on Instagram, you can find her at Damali Dreamer.
Awesome. Thanks for having me. I hope that some of what I said resonated with you.
Peace out. See you next time. Okay. Okay, yeah, I guess.
This hate. The shade.
Okay guys, don't forget to comment, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel and keep your daydream alive. I hope this helps you. Bye.